Yes, well, I mean, one of the examples that's well known is Myanmar, where Facebook was essentially unknown in 2010, and the junta there opened up the economy, allowed telecoms to be used, smartphones were used throughout the population, people got Facebook accounts. There was no moderation because Facebook systems couldn't understand the computer fonts that were used. And the effect was that you had unrest, you had hate speech against the Rohingya, and eventually saw that the government was able to commit genocide against them, effectively with the backing and the support of a population which had been used to the idea that these were bad people.
And this is because Facebook's algorithms really quickly start feeding into people's accounts what they think might be of interest to them, and then create this misinformation. It's been demonstrated on so many occasions.
It's been shown again and again. The problem is that the algorithms don't know what is hate speech. They just know what people engage with. But as Frances Haugen said yesterday, and as has been said by many researchers down the years, the things we respond to, humans are tribal. We respond to things that make us feel that we're included in the tribe, or that we need to exclude from the tribe. And outrage does that. Things that make you angry do that. And the algorithm sees you engaging with it and thinks this is something that's desirable because it makes you spend more time on the site, but it's just making you angry. Everyone gets a bit more angry, a bit more likely to conflict with each other, and that's the effect that you see, and that's the problem that she described. I mean, she's doing it though, looking at all the research that's already existing inside Facebook. She's basically sort of pointing to lots of sticks of dynamite inside Facebook, and she's lit a fuse, which I think is going to burn down, and which is effectively going to blow up a lot of Facebook's sort of PR around the world. She's saying there's many other Facebook employees have been saying that they have a bad effect on elections, on journalism, and basically on social unrest around the world.
Yes, because it's not, you talk about Myanmar, we talk about India, Afghanistan, Ethiopia, where similar things happened because they didn't even monitor the language. They had no foreign language monitors. And we've seen in the US, even where it is in English, and of course they have so many more moderators, it still doesn't stop, because isn't that the way Facebook is set up?
Facebook is very much set up that the more time you spend on Facebook, the less time you're spending anywhere else, the more time they have to show you adverts. So it's never in their interest to make you spend less time on the network. Even Instagram, which a couple of years ago retreated from showing you everything. They did the thing where they would say, well, you scroll to the bottom of your feed, you're all caught up, which was almost an encouragement to get off Instagram. But they've stopped doing that now. They now push more accounts at you. They're trying to make you spend more time on it, because it's always important to them that they have people using their systems all the time. That's what they want, and there's really no way to stop them doing that except to change the incentives that they have.
So how do we go about doing that? I mean, they made $9 billion of profit, so there's no sign it's hurting them financially. Advertisers don't seem to be walking away. Users maybe have slipped off a little bit. So what can regulators do, if anything?
Well, my suggestion in my book, Social Warming, is that you actually limit the size of these networks, that you say there can only be a certain size. I suggest about 250 million users, which is plenty to make money, but it's also the sort of size where moderation becomes possible. Facebook claims to have 3.8 billion users. TikTok has 1 billion users. Instagram has 1 billion users. You can't moderate a network of that size, and the problems with moderation grow geometrically as the network grows in size arithmetically. So you have 100 people, you've got 100 times the problem. If you've got 200 people, you've got 400 times the problem. It's just much bigger than they can cope with.
You're talking about the fact that this could really blow up the brand. Facebook are looking at rebranding. Would that do any good?
It's hard to say. I mean, many organisations have tried to rebrand to get away from a bad past. I think the difficulty is that Facebook is so bound up with all of its past that it's really difficult to get rid of. And the suspicion is that what Mark Zuckerberg is really looking to do is to have a sort of umbrella company for all the different bits that Facebook now encompasses. So it's got virtual reality, it's got WhatsApp, it's got Instagram, it's got Facebook itself, and it's also talking about a sort of metaverse idea, which is that you'd all strap on virtual reality headsets and have your business meetings there. Not sure how well that's going to catch on, but never underestimate Mark Zuckerberg.
Exactly, and today it was fascinating. He was blaming the media, sort of something right out of the Trump playbook, which is ironic because it's coming from within his own organisation. It's his own organisation that is identifying and really asking for these problems to be fixed.
There's a lot of disquiet inside Facebook, and it's very noticeable. I mean, Facebook is not the only organisation that has this problem. YouTube, Google's YouTube, also has a role in radicalisation, and that goes under-remarked. While everyone focuses on Facebook, it has to be said, there's lots of radicalisation, misinformation, disinformation videos on YouTube, and just as people get pulled into sort of far left, far right views on Facebook, the same sort of thing happens on YouTube. It's a broader problem than just the one company, and it's something that politicians around the world really need to grapple with, the question of whether these are actually good for us or whether it's more like tobacco, which in the 1950s the cigarette companies already knew that they caused cancer, that they were harmful, and when the medical profession said a few years later, we're very sure about this, they said that's just a matter of opinion. I think we're at a similar sort of point now where we're realising the harms that they have, but equally we're not quite sure what sort of measures we need to take. And you look at cigarettes, it's still something that's dragging on many years later. We're still seeing the harmful effects.
But far less popular. Good to talk, Charles. Thanks for joining us.